Welcome back to Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier, sponsored now by Four Paws Restaurant, the iconic fine dining restaurant in St. Paul, Minnesota, located in a beautifully restored mansion uh, built in 1870. And with me is the sommelier starting next Tuesday. Um, I don't much care for turkey in spite of that little tutorial I published about how to carve one. Um, so I asked my wife, who also is not a huge lover of turkey, what she'd like to have for Thanksgiving dinner. And she said something we would both enjoy, which of course eliminated all the things that I would have cooked because she doesn't really, she doesn't not eat red meat, but she tries to avoid it as much as possible. So that eliminated venison, lamb, and, uh, beef Wellington, things like that, that I would have picked to prepare. So I would look back in my memory banks and remember this Russian dish that used to be very common in restaurants in America called kuliviak of salmon. It's a side of salmon in pastry with rice and mushrooms and spinach layered so that it looks really beautiful when you slice it baked in the oven. Um, I've made this dish quite a few times over the years. Somehow I managed to find a recipe for it that was unbelievably complicated. And I think I used every single pan and utensil in the house making it, but it was worth it. It was just absolutely superb, and had a nice horseradish cream sauce to go with it. I love horseradish. Um, so what wine do you eat with drink with Kuligat and salmon? I don't have any Russian wine in my wine cellar. I brought up a bottle of wine, Domaine Nico 2020, Domaine Nico Pinot Noir Grand Mère, which is made by the Nicolas Catena group in Mendoza, Argentina. I've tasted this wine before. I tasted it with Nesty Bida, the uh, head winemaker for Nicolas Catena, on a Zoom call. I also tasted it with Laura Catena. Um, this is my wine of the year for 2000. Now it's kind of end of the year, but there's more year to go, so I don't know if it'll end up being my wine of the year. And I'm not telling you it's the most extraordinary wine I've tasted this year because I've tasted a lot of really great wine. But in terms of how great a wine it is for the price point that it is, this is my wine of the year for 2024. It's about anywhere from $30 to $35. In my Zoom call with Laura Catena, I asked her if it was coincidence that the label of the Domaine Nico wines is very similar to the labels of Domaine de la Romanée-Conti Burgundies. And she said that she would prefer not to answer that question, which answers the question. It's not coincidence that they're so similar. I think her hope is to make Argentine or Mendoza Pinot Noir, which is, well, it's not going to be DRC, but is of enormously high quality, which is what they do with all their wines. This is an absolutely extraordinary bottle of wine for $35. I asked a famous winemaker recently what makes a wine great, and she said balance. I agree 100%. And this wine has perfect balance among all of its elements. The fruit, sweetness, tannins, oak, everything. It is all in 100% harmony. And it has enormous purity of fruit. It is the most pure wine I remember tasting in a long time. It is an absolutely stunningly beautiful ruby red color. It smells, the bouquet and aroma are just amazing. I mean, it's mostly aroma at 4 years old, but it's developing some secondary, tertiary cat, characteristics. It's very floral, very red fruits, subtle oak. It's just, you know, it just smells so wonderful. And then it's just it's just incredibly delicious, which is pretty much all you can ask a wine to be, right? Looks good, smells good, tastes good. The tannins are pretty much resolved. It's very soft and velvety on the palate. It's got a long, long, beautiful finish. I'm not telling you that it tastes like Latache or Romanée-Conti or any of the other DRC burgundies, but I'm telling you, I can see that that might be their role model. They're hoping to pursue to emulate it. It's an extraordinary bottle of wine. It was fabulous with the scent. My wife doesn't drink, so there's more of it left for me to enjoy when I get home tonight. I can't wait. I may, I may go home. Okay, go home early so I can have a glass. It's so wonderful. Congratulations to Laura Catena and Estibada, Laura's brother and sister for producing, and their team for producing this extraordinary wine that is not from the most obvious place great Pinot Noir come from. But if you think about it, Mendoza is a high desert. It's very cool, very cool. There's bright sunshine, which is pretty much everything you need to produce great Pinot Noir. Well, you need excellent winemaking. They certainly have that. Thanks for tuning into Adventures of Black Belt Sommelier. We appreciate it very much. Look for 2020 Domaine Nico Pinot Noir Grand Mère, Grandmere. It's French for grandmother. It's their. They also make a Grand Père. It's equally excellent, but I'd say the Grand Père tastes more like Chambertin, and the Grand Mère tastes more like Bon Romanée. Both great, just different. Thank you very much.